friends. In menu panel, you can navigate. Hello friends. In this exercise, we will be learning two important functions, and they are COUNTIF and SUMIF. So let's understand how to use COUNTIF and SUMIF. COUNTIF means counting based on certain conditions, and that condition will be defined in the function itself. SUMIF similarly means summing based on certain conditions. So there are a few questions here that you will have to do. I will teach you few of them. Like question number 1 says, how many people have their birthday before 31st of December 1960? So from the data, you will have to select them whose date of birth is before this given date, and you have to get the count. So there is a hint here. Use COUNTIF function. For all the questions you have been suggested, what functions need to be used. So let's try this function out here. So we will write equal to COUNTIF and will open the bracket. It is telling you to select the range. So the range will obviously be the database range. This one. So select from here to here. If you will create the name, you can use that name. But since we have not created the name, so we will use this range. Put a comma. Then within the double quotes, you will have to write less than and write the date. 31st 10. You can also use slash instead. 10 1960. Close the double quotes and close the bracket. So this says select those birthdays which is falling before this date. Press enter key and this will give you the required count. So it is 12. So COUNTIF this range, select this range, look at this range. How many dates are there before 31st of I have mistaken in the date, that is why it is different from this result. So instead of 10, we will have to write here 12 and look at this data, this result. This is matching with your given result. So count is 14. Count is 14. Right? Similarly, let's take the second question in which you are being asked how many people belong to department SNTI. So for that, you will have to use COUNTIF once again. So write equal to COUNTIF, open the bracket and select department range this time. Put a comma and within the double quotes write SNTI. You can write in a small or capital, doesn't matter. The result will be the same. Close the bracket and press enter key. So the result is there are 7 people belonging to SNTI. You can cross check the result going to the database if your answer is correct or not. Alright. Here let's try this one. So what is this? How many managers are there in SNTI department? So there will be 2 criteria. The COUNTIF takes only one criteria. So COUNTIF function is COUNTIF function will not work here. So you will have to use COUNTIF function. So let's try this one. Equal to COUNTIF open the bracket. Now see the syntax, criteria range followed by the criteria. So we will take the first criteria range followed by the first criteria, and then second criteria range followed by the second criteria. This will be the sequence of writing the range and criteria. So what is the first range? We have to take department and then position. So select department first, put a comma, and then write SNTI as the criteria within double quotes. Okay, within double quotes write SNTI, then again put a comma, then select the second criteria range followed by the criteria. Therefore you will have to write within double quotes manager. Don't make a mistake in the spelling, otherwise your result will not be proper. So you have to be careful while you are writing the spelling. So press enter key to get the result. It is 2 in this case. And here, how many employees don't have their last name? So there is a function called count blank. This will give you. Let's use it. Equal to count blank. So this time which range we will take? Obviously the last name range, because we have to see how many people are there who don't have their last names. So if last name range is selected, put a comma, and then there is no criteria in this. It will obviously count how many fields are, how many rows are blank. So simply give this range and press enter key. There are 3 people who don't have their names, 1, 2, and 3. So there are 3 people who don't have their last names. So count blank is a function that gives you this result. Let's try sum if now. Find the sum of the basics of all the employees from HRM department. Now how to do this? Equal to sum if, then see the syntax, range, that means criteria range, followed by the criteria and then the sum range. So what is the criteria here? Criteria is department. We will select the department range, and then as a criteria we will use the name HRM within the double quotes, followed by the range of basic that we have to sum up. Alright. So let's go to select the department range. Here is the department range. Put a comma, and then within the double quotes write HRM and put a comma, and then select the basic range. This is the sum range. So all the 3 ranges, 3 things have been selected. Close the bracket and hit enter key to get the result. There is your result. So if you take the sum of HRM department, these are the basics. I am cross-checking it, I am copying this data at some other place and trying to find out the sum of this. Look, it is 1,94,800. So here also you have got 1,94,800. They are same. So you have verified the data, verified the result. Similarly, you can calculate sum if, like here, find the sum of the basics of officers from ITF department. So sum if is able to accommodate multiple conditions. So you will write here equal to sum if, open the bracket. This is the sum range. So in the beginning itself you have to give the sum range. So we will select basic as the range, which is the sum range in this case. Put a comma, then followed by criteria range. So Here in this case, officers of ITS department have to be selected. So we will go for department as the first range, put a comma, and then write ITS within double quotes. You can also write in a small, the result will be the same. Put a comma, then the second criteria range, is position, put a comma once again, and within the double quotes, this time you will write officer, not officers. Question says officers, but here you will have to write officers. The same spelling you will have to follow, which is mentioned in the database. If you make a mistake in the spelling, where most of the people make a mistake, so I am cautioning you that be careful while writing the spelling. So press enter key at the end and you will get the result. Alright, so that's all about sum if and count if, and sum if and count if. You will have to try the questions here. So that's all in this exercise. Thank you very much. Happy learning. Hello friends, we are going to create chart in this exercise. The most common types of the charts are column chart, line chart, bar chart, pie chart. So we will create chart from this small database, which is about the sales and produce of orchard products like apple, banana, pears, orange, grapes, kiwi fruit. The produce for the January, February, March and April is given in this database. The most important part of creation of chart is selection of the data. These are column headers in the data and these are row headers in this database. While selecting the data for creating a chart, we must include column header and if row header is there, also row header. So we will start selection from this place up to this place, which includes all the column headers and row headers. After this, we will go to insert, and here is the chart group. It contains all the types of the charts you want to create. Now let's focus on column chart. Click the drop down list. This includes the 2D types of the column chart, 3D types of the column chart, cylinder type of the column chart, cone type of the column chart, and pyramid type of the column chart. Let's go for the basic type of the column chart, that is 2D column chart. And if you place your pointer on the first column chart, it says it is clustered column chart. The type of the column chart is clustered column chart. So let's click on this option. We are going to create the first chart, which is clustered column chart of 2D type. So click it. Now here is the chart ready on the worksheet itself. So these are the items for which this chart has been prepared, and this is called legend. For January, this blue color bar is there, column is there, and for February, this red color, brick red color column is there. So these colors indicate for which month these data are there. Now, when your chart is ready, you will find a chart tools menu appears automatically on your screen. If you click outside this chart, then you will find this chart tools menu disappears. But when you click it again on the chart, you will find the chart tools has reappeared on your screen. So this option, chart tools option, will be on the screen when your chart is selected or active. Now it has three tabs: design, layout, and format. Obviously, they have got different types of options. Suppose you want to give a chart title to this chart. Then you have got an option here called chart title in the layout tab of chart tools. So let's click chart title. Where you want to place it? So above the chart and centered overlay. There are two options. By default, this none is selected. So let's select centered overlay. So here is the chart title. Yes, for the chart title has appeared. Now whatever chart title you want to add here, you can add. So select and start writing like sales and produce of the orchard. This became the chart title, and we have added a chart title here. Now if you want to add data on these columns, then what to do? Here is the option for that. Data labels. Where you want to place that data? Inside in, inside base, outside in, center. So let's click center. So at the center of the database of the columns, these data are appearing. Let's change it. Data labels. Let's take the inside in option. So this is inside in, data labels, inside base option. So this is inside base, not properly visible in this case. Now outside in, let's take this option. So I think this is the best option, where the data is appearing at the top of the column. So list overlapping is there in this case, and distinctly value of the data is clearly visible. So this is how you work in charts. In the case of design, here you have got different colors for different chart styles. Suppose you don't want this colored option, you want to take single color option, then you can select this chart style, and accordingly the legend will also change and the color of the chart columns will also change. So other chart options, color of style options are also there. You can look at this. Also, different chart layouts are there for different ways of showing the column chart. So you can try one after another in this case. By selecting them, you will find your layout of this chart is changing. Now, there is yet another important setting which you must know. Suppose you want these apples, bananas, pears, oranges, grapes and kiwi fruits to appear in this legend, and these months should appear on this axis. Then there is a simple option for this. You just click switch rows and columns, and this will be interchanged. You can see here January, February, March and April are appearing on the axis, and these fruit items have come in the legend. Now the next thing that we will learn here is how to convert it into a sheet. For that, just right click on this right click anywhere on the white area. Right click on this chart and go to the move chart option. And here you will find you have got two options. One is selected for you and the other is ready for you, new sheet. So select the new sheet option here and click OK. So the new sheet name will be chart 1. If you want to change this name, you can change this name, sales and produce of orchard. This is the name I have given and I am clicking OK. Now look at this. A sheet named sales and produce of orchard has been created, and in this sheet only chart is there. So visibility will be much more better in this case. If your data or the chart is not properly visible on the sheet, you can go for this option. What is the way? Right click in the white area and go to move chart and opt for this new sheet option. Whatever name you want to give to this chart, you can type here and click OK. Next, let's go to the data once again. I am clicking in exercise 1 to get our data back. Here, now if you want to create another type of the chart, let's select the data once again and go to insert, go to column, and this time go to this option, stacked column chart. In this case, the columns, individual columns will be stacked one on the other. Like these two columns will be stacked one on the other. So that is why it is called a stacked column chart. Let's click this option. So here is the stacked column chart. All the four pillars or the columns are stacked in one. So the first data of January, February, March and April we are getting in one column, and this is for April. In the last chart, you must remember you had got four different columns for 4 months. So this is your stacked column chart. In this option, instead of getting four different columns, you are getting a single column. Rest of the things are similar. Chart tools has appeared similarly at this place, and the options are like that only. Also, you can right click and move this chart to a different place. I am not changing the name this time. I am clicking OK. So again I am going to exercise 1, and here selecting this data, going to insert column, and this is 100% stacked column chart, where the difference is that all the columns will be of equal length because they are represented in percentage. So So, taking the percentage value, all the columns will sum up to be 100%. That is why all the columns are of equal length. So, percentage contribution of each column is taken here. So, percentage contribution for January, percentage contribution for February, percentage contribution for the March and April. Similarly, for other columns also, for banana, pears, oranges, grapes, kiwi fruit, the 4 months percentage contribution is taken into account. So that is the difference between a stacked column chart and 100% stacked column chart. I hope it is pretty clear, and you can move this chart also like this. Go to this exercise and let's create pie chart this time, which is an important option. But in the case of pie chart, you cannot click pie for all the items. You will have to select one only for creating the pie chart. Like if I want, I can create the pie chart for the production of apples in the orchard. So let's click the header, select the header row and select the data for apple only. We will go to insert, we will go to pie chart, and there are different types of the pie chart given here. We are selecting a 2D pie chart option, this one, and here the pie chart is ready. This pie chart is for apple and the data is for January, February, March and April. So here there is no data. You can go to layout and say here I want data levels to appear in the center. So your data levels are appearing here. Now if you want to get the percentage contribution, then that option is also available here. You just right click here on one of the pie on the pie chart and go to data, format data levels. Here this dialog box will appear and you can see different boxes are there, check boxes are there, and where the data should appear, that is also given, level position. So we want the percentage value to appear here and we are unchecking value option. Show leader lines option has got certain importance. I will show you it later. Level position, we are telling best fit option. So you can see here the best fit option has taken place and it has left the center position and we have got the best fit position. Okay, so we are closing this dialog box now, and this way we are getting the percentage contribution of each pie. So that's how we create 2D pie chart, and we can move this pie chart by clicking in the white area and moving it as a new sheet. If you want to increase the font size of these levels, then click on this and go to home and increase the font size by clicking it. If you want to increase the font size of these data levels, legend levels, then click on the legend and increase the font size. Here also the same thing. So this way you can fine-tune your chart. Again we are going back to the exercise. This time if you want to create chart for, say suppose, oranges, then how to select the data? Select this header, press Ctrl key, remember press Ctrl key and select oranges. Now go to insert pie chart. This time we are taking 3D pie chart. So click here and your pie chart is ready. Similarly, if you want to, you can also select from the layout section. Look here, percentage symbol is visible, so you can, if you click this option, your legends are at the top and percentage value have appeared on the pie chart. You can change its position. Click OK button. If you want to increase the font size of all these levels, increase it this way. If you want to increase the font size here, do it this way. You have fine-tuned this chart. This is okay. Now let's go to exercise 1 once again. Similarly, you can do these exercises given. The process of creating the chart is the same. You can create line chart, bar chart, pie chart. Okay. So, I hope you will be able to do these exercises. Thank you very much. Happy learning. Friends, let's have some more input on pie chart. In the last exercise, we had seen the basic type of pie chart where a data was there and we had to create a basic 2D and 3D pie chart. Here, this is the data for which we will create pie chart. Let's select the 3D pie chart here and your pie chart is ready. Let's select the values layout and here are the values. Now, if you want, you can add a chart title above the chart. Annual sales. This is the chart title. And let's now we want to exclude the pie of 2018 suppose. So how to do that? You can increase the size of this pie chart in this manner. Click on this pie. After few seconds, if you click on this 2018 pie, then you will find only this pie is selected. No other pie is selected now. So, if you click and drag it outward, you will find this pie has exploded. So this way you can explode one of the pies of the pie chart and show it separately. Let's delete this pie chart. Now the next pie chart is here. To create a 2D pie of pie chart for the 4 quarters of 2015. So here is the data. To select this data in this manner and go to insert pie, and this is pie of pie chart. Here is the pie chart. For 2 quarters, the data is here, quarter 1 and quarter 2. For 3rd and 4th quarters, a different pie has been created. That is why this is called pie of pie chart for 2 quarters, quarter 3 and quarter 4. This is the pie chart. You can have it for more number of categories, more number of quarters. I mean, in the place of quarters, some other data is there. Then you can have pie for the other items. So this is pie of pie chart. Let's delete it and explore the same for the other thing. Here also you can create pie of pie or bar of pie. So we have selected the data. We'll go to insert, pie, and now pie of pie. So here you can see for the 4 different months of this pie chart, there is another pie. Now if you want to add a few more months in this pie, then you should click on this. You should click on this and right click here on this pie and go to format data point. Here split series by position. This is the setting, or value, or percentage value, or custom. It is like this. We have kept it in position. Now second plot contains how many values. This can be decided from this setting. So let's suppose we want to get 9 values to be included in the second plot. And I have set it to 9 and I will close it now and look at this. The 3 months pie is here and the rest of the 9 months is here. So therefore you can right click. Once again I am repeating, right click on this, go to format data point, and then you can vary it. Now let's make it 6 months. So here is the data for 6 months, and the rest of the 6 months, for rest of the 6 months you have another pie. So that's all in this exercise. One more thing. Let me add it. I'm deleting this data. Now I was forgetting to include or explain bar of pie chart. Okay, so you will include it, insert, go to pie, and here you have bar of pie chart. If you click this one, you will get bar chart separately and pie chart separate. So if you want to affect this, bar chart, you just have to right click here and go to format data point, and in the similar fashion as I taught you earlier, you can set the number of values in the second plot. So click here and make it 7, 8, whatever you want, and here is the bar chart and here is the pie chart for this. So this is called bar of pie chart for this. So let's conclude here in this exercise. This is the last thing I had to explain. Thank you very much. Happy learning. Hello friends. In this video we are going to use this Excel sheet to learn about if function. There are 2 types of uses of if function. One is use of single if and the other is use of nested if, where if is used within the if. So we will see it later. Nested use we will see later. Let's see first what is the use of if function and how it can be used. Here we have got the marks of different candidates and we have to decide if the guy is fail or pass in this test based on their marks. So The passing criteria is like this. If he has got 50 marks or above, he is passed, otherwise he is failed. So we will write if function in this manner, equal to if, we will open a bracket. Here it is saying logical test. So we have to decide if the marks obtained by the candidate is greater than or equal to 50, and if it is so, what we want to write, and if it is not so, what we want to write. So here we will click this cell for which we are going to decide the result is greater than equal to 50. Then we will write pass in double quotes. We will put a comma once again and we will write cell in double quotes. This will decide if the candidate has passed this test or not. So I am pressing enter key to get the result. All these numbers are using random functions. That is why they are randomly generated numbers. Whenever you write a formula or copy the formula, these numbers will change. So there is nothing to worry about that. So now I can copy this formula to other cells up to this place. So for that I will double click this handle and this if formula will be copied in other cells. So look at this. This has decided now who are the boys, who are the candidates who have passed and who have failed. So it is like this. Now let's see the case of nested if. Now we don't have to decide just fail and pass in the test. We have to grade it, and the criteria of grading is given here. Between 1 to 25, if the marks is there, he will be graded D. Between 26 to 50, if the candidate has got, he will be graded C. And if it is between 51 to 75, he will be graded B. And if he gets between 76 to 100, he will be graded A. So based on this, we have to write nested if so that we get the correct grade. So for that we will write equal to if, open the bracket. We will test if this value is greater than 75. We will proceed from the higher side. You can also include equal to sign with greater than, so that 75 is also included. If it is so, then what we will write? A. What should be the grade? It should be A. Then if we write some other grade, then this if will be terminated. So we don't have to terminate this if. So we will start another if here. That's the practice of nesting. So we will write if, again we will open another bracket and we will click this cell once again to check another condition. If it is greater than or equal to 50. So if it is so, we will grade it D. And if it is not so, we will use another if to evaluate if this value is greater than 25. So here we will write C if it is greater than 75. Put a comma, and since the last condition is there is no other choice, so you don't have to bother about another if. You have just to terminate here by saying for all other conditions it will be D and close the bracket. You have to close it as many times as you have used the if. We have thrice used if function, so we will close it thrice. So now press enter to get your desired result. Here your grade is A according to the marks. It is 83, so your grade is A. Any marks above 75 will be graded A according to the condition. And so if we copy it to other cells, you see the grading has been done. So that's the use of if function. Once again I would like to repeat it. Here if cell value is greater than or equal to 75, you can add it, greater than or equal to 75, then it will be A, and if it is greater than equal to 50, then it will be B, and if it is greater than equal to 25, it will be C, else it will be D. And you will have to close as many brackets, as many if you have used. So that's it here for if functions. Now let's proceed to is functions. In the case of is function, the function starts with is. Like is blank is a function which checks if the cell value is blank. One most important thing about this function is that it is a logical function. So any is function is a logical function in the same line. So is blank will check if the cell value is blank. So here we are checking if A2 is blank. So A2 is here, the value is here, is blank, this value. So if you write here equal to is blank bracket this value, this cell. So let's take the clicking is not possible, so we will write the address of this cell. So it is A4. So let's write A4 and press enter. So it is true. And if you write here something and press enter key, look, this has turned to false. So logical functions either give you true or false as a result. So these functions help you in deciding for further calculation. So other if is function is or, which checks if some error is there in the cell. Look, here hash ref error is there, and if we check equal to if is or is ERR bracket open A5 and close the bracket and press enter key. So it is true. Now if you check it for the A4 cell, it says it is false. There is no error in the cell A4, so it is false. So if it is for A5, it is true. If it is for A5, it is true. But when you take it A4, it is false, because there is no error in A4. Similarly, if you use is error is different from is or. Is or does not take into account has an error. Hence, is or will not be able to give you correct result for has an error. But is error is capable of including has an error with other errors. So So it is error and is are slightly different. Is error avoids hasten error, but is error includes that error also, that means hasten error also, to give you the result. Is even will check if the cell value is an even number. Similarly, you have got is odd, which checks if the cell value is an odd number. Is number checks if the cell value is a number, not a text or not a non-text. Is non-text will check if the cell value is a non-text, not a text. Each NA checks if it is a hash NA error, so that there is an exclusive type of is function for hash NA error. Similarly, is logical checks if the cell value contains a logical value, that means true or false. These are the two values. So, suppose we write here true and we check if this cell is having logical value. So we will write equal to is logical, bracket open, so it is saying true. If you write false here, then even it is true. But if you write something else, yes, then it is false, because yes is not a logical value. Logical value means true and false only. It is not yes is no or no if you write here, then also it is false. Because is logical reads for logical values. If it is true or false, it will evaluate you to be true. So I have covered almost all is functions. Let's conclude this discussion here. Thank you very much. Happy learning. Friends, in this exercise, we are going to learn about date and time function. If we write a date in a cell, say suppose it is 21st of August 2018. After pressing enter, you will see it is appearing as right aligned. So if you enter the date in a cell and it becomes right aligned, that means it is rightly entered in a cell or has been accepted by your Excel program. If it is rejected by the Excel program, the date that you enter will remain left aligned. Like I am entering one for you, like 08/21st 2018. Look at this date. After pressing enter, it remains left aligned. That means this date has been rejected by your Excel program. So in this Excel program, there is a provision. By seeing the alignment itself, you can understand if the date has been accepted or rejected by your Excel program. Now let's consider this date. In this date format, you can see the date and the time are appearing together. Now this is a kind of format used in MS Excel. But in the below shell, you can see the date part is appearing here, but the time part is not appearing as seen in the formula bar. This date is containing time part as well as date part, but only date part is visible, not the time part. Therefore, we can make it which part of the date we want to make visible, that we can decide from the format. Later we will see how it is defined. Now let's take another date, which is 30th of March of 1901, and another date, 31st of December 1900. Now if we convert these two dates into number or general format, you will find there are two numbers. So there is a number equivalent to each date. So whatever date you write in MS Excel, there is an equivalent number for that. In order to better understand this thing, I am scrolling down to the bottom part of this exercise. Here you can see number of dates are written. It is 21st of August 2018, which is today's date. Now this date, if we convert it into general format, there is a number equivalent to this, which is 43,333. Now if we take another date, which is an earlier date of the year 2000, the 2nd of February 2000 is equivalent to 36,558. Similarly, as you go towards 1900, like 8th of February 1900 is equivalent to 39. Similarly, 1st of January 1900 is equivalent to 1. That means the Excel date starts from 1st of January 1900, and before this date your Excel will not be able to understand if it is a date. So if you enter, say suppose 1st of January 1890 and press enter, look at this date, it is left aligned. So as I told you earlier, that this date has not been accepted by Microsoft Excel. Hope this part is clearly understood to you. Now let's look at the other format. Here we have used a function called now function. So what is now function? Now is a function in Excel which gives you date as well as time. So here I am writing it for you, equal to now, close, open the bracket and close the bracket and press enter. So you can see here the date is appearing, and with that the time is appearing. So whatever the time is there now, that is also shown with the date. If you want, you can change it, you can make it appear with the second portion also. I mean hour, minute and second. So how to do that? I am going to change the format of this date. So here click on this date format, number format, and go to more number format to customize it. Here you can see different date formats are there. The one selected for you is this format. Now if I want to make second part be visible in the cell, I will just add here colon SS and click OK. Now look at this date format. The second part of the time is also visible in this cell. So this way you can change the visibility of the format. Now if you want this cell to show only the date part, you will have to change it like this. Go to this more settings, delete this portion, hour, minute and second, and click OK. Now see, the formula is same now, but the time portion is not visible. Has been this has been not shown in the date format. Now considering this date, there is a function called date value, and that gives you a number equivalent to date. So here we have used date value function, and we have taken a date 25th of October 2014. Remember that date has to be written within double quotes. So this has given you a number equivalent to this date, that is 25th of October 2014. This is equal to 41,937. Similarly, date value also gives you equivalent number. Here the format of the date was different and here the format of the date is different. So there are two different formats used in date value function. So date value function is again using this format where the year has been written in the beginning and followed by month and then followed by the day. So yet another format of the date and the equivalent date value. Here the day part, day is a function which takes out the day part of the date. Days 360 is another function which you can take the help using this effect function, and here it tells you what this function is used for. This returns the number of days between two dates based on a 360-day year. That means if you enter two dates here, D3 is one date, this is one date, this is another date. So in between these two dates, how many days are there? That basically days 360 tells you. Considering there are 360 days in a year, not 365 days. Please remember. R is a function which takes out the R part of the time. Similarly, minute is a function which takes out the minute part of the time, maybe from the date also. And second is a function which takes out the second part of the time. Similarly, month is a function that means equal to month, will take out the month part of the date, and year is a function which takes out the year part of the function. Similarly, weekday is a function which tells us what day it is on a particular date. So it gives you a number between 1 to 7. 1 says 1 is Sunday and 7 is Saturday. So this way you can understand which day it is. So here we have used today function, which is a number here, but you can convert it into date. Select short date format from here and you can see this number has got converted into date. Similarly, there is a number here for now function with a decimal value, but this decimal value shows the time part. So if you select the date part here, long date, so it is giving you the date, today's date, and if you select a time, it will give you the time now, exactly now what is the time that it gives you. So time is a function which again gives you the time where you can write R followed by minute and then second. And if you press enter, this will give you the time in R, minute and second format. Also it will write PM or AM for you. So that's it in the date and time function and the format. Let's discuss yet another useful thing. In this case, here I have used made an application where if you enter your name, your date of birth and today's date, this will give you your age. So the function that we are using here is date diff. So visibly it is a date diff function with your date of birth followed by the target date and the format in which you want the output. Here we have taken Y within the double quotes. That means we want number of years between these two dates. Right? Now, in this case, in this cell, we have again used this formula to get the months between these 2 years, but we have set this function to forego year part. So, between these two dates, date of birth and today's date, it will tell you the number of months remaining, leaving aside your number of years. In this case, we are taking the number of days remaining, leaving aside number of months, total number of months. So here is the date of birth and the target date, that is today's date, and we are getting the number of days remaining, leaving aside number of months, total number of months. So here is the age of this person, Rajiv Kumar, 51 years, 7 months and 16 days. I have concatenated this result out here, concatenated the content of B13, each I have added like a text, and then value of B42, again concatenated with certain text to get this sentence. So Rajiv Kumar is 51 years old and 51 years, 7 months and 16 days old. So that is how it is done. It's okay. So that's all in this exercise. Thank you very much. Happy learning.